Champions are critical to the success of any change programme, and Donald Shawn even went so far as to say the new idea either finds a champion or dies. And there's been major research focused on the variables that help or hinder adoption of a technological change, or one variable that's incredibly strongly linked to the success of your technological innovation is the presence of champions. They make decisive contributions to the innovation by actively and enthusiastically promoting its progress through the traditional organisational stages. In order to overcome the indifference and resistance that major technological change provokes, a champion at the highest level identifies the idea as their own. They promote the idea actively and vigorously through informal networks, they even risk their position and prestige to ensure the innovation succeeds. Champions hopefully are charismatic individuals who throw their weight behind a change, and they overcome indifference or resistance. They play the role of opinion leaders in their community. So who should be a champion? Well, costly and highly visible and radical changes, you should look for administrative patrons in the organisation. The most senior people perhaps hold a lot of organisational power, and here we're talking about primary sponsors and the sponsor coalition. For the largest changes, we're asking them to identify the idea as their own, to promote the idea active and vigorously, and to even risk their position and prestige to ensure the innovation success. But for less radical innovations, we still need active and visible sponsorship, building a coalition and communicating. But champions could be middle managers in that case. These people aren't so senior that they're inaccessible to staff, and they're closest to the people that need to embrace, adopt and use the change for success. And the key qualities for these people are they should occupy key linking positions in their organisation. Ideally, they possess analytical and intuitive skills and understanding individual aspirations. They're closest to the people, and they demonstrate well-honed interpersonal and negotiating skills and working with others in their organisation. They're brokers and arrangers for the change. They help fit it into the organisational context. And even they sometimes orchestrate the redefinition of or restructuring of the change, and that comes from one of the 5 ProSci roles for a manager as liaison. They liaise between the project and their people. What works, what doesn't? Can we change this? Can we change that? And the best champions, they tend to be higher risk takers, more innovative, they're more influential with others, they're adept at handling people, and they're skillful in persuasion and negotiation. In short, they're innovation minded, but not necessarily more powerful than their peers. And ultimately it comes down to the heart of the diffusion or adoption processes. Everett Rogers said in Diffusion of Innovations, the part of the diffusion or adoption curve from about 10 to 20% adoption is the heart of the diffusion process, the adoption process. After that point, it's often impossible to stop further diffusion, and that comes from the activation of peer networks, think champion networks, spreading subjective evaluations about the innovation, and that effort is led by champions. So champions are crucial. When you're thinking about champions, think of Shawn's quote, the new idea either finds a champion or dies. Of course, that's all within the context of sponsorship, managers and supervisors. These are the 3 roles that are on stage making the change. Hope that helped.